guys, it's Nicole, also known as Nikki Vegan, and today I'm going to be showing you everything that I ate today as a vegan. I've got some really fast and easy recipes that are super delicious, and I've also got some really great hacks that I've kind of peppered throughout the video that will really make cooking a lot more fun, a lot more delicious, and a lot more practical. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to my channel if you're not already. I would love to have you as a subscriber, and if you are already subscribed, make sure you've also clicked that little notification bell because that will let you know whenever I post a new video. Sometimes the algorithm changes on social media and videos don't get seen, and I really want you guys to see my videos because I love sharing my recipes with you. So make sure you do that, and for now, let's get into the video. So this morning, like every morning, I started with a big glass of water, and I've been trying to do either room temperature or warm water because it's so cold in the morning, and I feel like if I'm drinking a big cold glass of water, I just don't get through it because it's already chilly and it's not very enjoyable. So that's a little trick for you guys. I also had my coffee, which is my favorite part of the day, and then I went on to breakfast. This was probably about 30 minutes later. And for breakfast on this day, I really wanted to get some greens in. I feel like, especially over the holidays, I wasn't as vegetable-y as I should have been, so I'm really trying to get those greens in because it makes me feel so good. And a trick that I have for you whenever you're making a smoothie is to blend the greens first, especially if you're using kale, because otherwise you're just going to get chunky bits of the lettuce or the kale in your smoothie, and that's not ideal. So blend it with a little bit of water first, and then I went ahead and added some fruit and also some ginger. This is a big chunk of ginger. I do like it spicy, but even just a little bit of ginger or a sprinkle of ground ginger just makes it so good. And I went for half of a banana, some frozen mango, and some orange, and I also added some barley grass juice powder. This is totally optional, you guys. If you guys are new vegans or you're on a budget, this is not something that you need to incorporate into your life to be healthy. I will never tell you that. Regular fruits and vegetables are fine, but it is sometimes fun to try things like this, and I do notice that when I add this to my smoothie, I just feel really good and really energized, and it gives it a nice, like really vibrant green color, which I love as well. So I poured this into a glass. It was kind of a small glass, so I ended up having about 2 of these, and it was delicious. So these are not eggs, this is tofu scramble, and those of you who are vegan have probably had this many times, but something I recently learned from my friend Nisha is that when you're making tofu scramble, you should use medium tofu as opposed to firm or extra firm, which is what I've always used before, and oh my gosh, it makes a huge difference because the medium tofu has a more scrambled egg texture, and I think it is so much better. So definitely check that out. I like using extra firm tofu for dinner recipes or really any other time I'm using tofu, but medium for this recipe in particular is amazing. So in one pan, I went ahead and just chopped up some mushrooms and some onions. I sauteed that with a little bit of water, some oregano, and a good pinch of salt and pepper, and I just let that kind of caramelize a little bit in the pan. Once all of the water is absorbed, it's going to kind of caramelize and give those mushrooms a really nice flavor. So I'll just do another little splash of water, and then I will add some zucchini. Now you can make a veggie tofu scramble the same way you would do like an egg and veggie scramble, but I like to have them separated because I'm kind of weird with textures, and I love the texture of the tofu scramble on its own. So I went ahead and did this, and it literally only took like 3 or 4 minutes, and that's one thing I love about having kind of like breakfast for lunch type options on hand, because if you happen to be home for lunch like I was on this day, or if it's a weekend and you want to make something for lunch but you don't want to be in the kitchen all day, doing something like this really comes together in under 10 minutes, and it's really delicious and hearty. So once that was done, I went ahead and made the tofu scramble. For this, I'm just going to do some really finely chopped onion and saute that with some water. This is definitely optional. It's not like a mandatory thing, but it adds so much flavor. And while that was sauteing, I added some garlic powder, some turmeric for that nice yellow color. I also added some paprika, salt and pepper. I'll put all the measurements down in the description box below. And then I'm going to crumble in my tofu. This is about half of a block of tofu, and I just kind of crumble that in. I like it to not be too tiny, like I want there to still be some good chunks in there, just because again, texture is everything here. Then I'm going to add a little splash of tamari, which is going to give it a really nice depth of flavor, and some nutritional yeast, which kind of gives it a richness that if you have ever made scrambled eggs using butter in the pan like we did when I was growing up, it kind of gives it a really similar richness. and flavor that I really, really like. Then I just added a little pinch of salt, and honestly, this takes 3 minutes, you guys, like 3 to 4 minutes tops. It's so easy. If it's not something you've tried before, I really recommend it because it's super versatile. You can make sandwiches with this. You can definitely put this like in a veggie bowl like I'm gonna do. You could do eggs on toast type of thing or avocado eggs on toast. So, so good. And if you just need something that's hearty and filling and high protein, I highly recommend it. I did go ahead and toast up some bread. I really like this Ezekiel bread. It's organic. And I feel like, I don't know if you guys remember this from back in the day, but they've definitely changed the recipe because it's a lot more, I don't know, it's a bit softer. I just think it's more pleasant overall. So if you haven't tried it in a while, go ahead and give it another try because it's a lot better now. I added some avocado on the side, and I always had scrambled eggs with ketchup, so that's what I did here. And this was really hearty, really satisfying, and really fast. My snack on this day was a little bit indulgent. It was actually one of the coconut vanilla cream pies that I made in one of my recent holiday videos. One of my favorite things about this recipe is that it freezes really well. So what I do is I just kind of wrap it up, I keep it frozen, and you can keep it in the freezer for several months, so you always have, you know, a healthy, wholesome, sweet treat on hand that's not, you know, like a bunch of ice cream or whatever else. Really all that's in this is some coconut milk, we've got dates, we've got some nuts, so it's a lot more wholesome and it still feels a little bit indulgent as well. So I take it out of the freezer, I go ahead and I let it sit on the counter for like 5 or 10 minutes, and it's just a really nice thing to pair with a cup of coffee. This was a decaf coffee, but it was really, really cozy, especially since it's cold. It was like the perfect little afternoon treat. Dinner on this day was so fun because it was definitely something I've never tried before, and it ended up being so delicious. And there's something I think really relaxing and satisfying about going into the kitchen and trying a new recipe that's a little bit outside of your comfort zone, especially when it turns out well. It's a fun thing to do, and I think it's almost like a form of meditation. So I love Purple Carrot because basically they send you all the ingredients and they send you recipes that some of which I probably wouldn't try of my own volition, but since it's there and everything's pre-measured and step-by-step instructions are written out, it's really easy to just kind of totally zone out and create something all new. And I basically made vegan crab cakes from scratch, which I always thought was going to be really, really hard. And it wasn't. So it's basically chickpeas, we've got celery, a little bit of jalapeno, and then the thing is that makes it really seafoody is Old Bay seasoning. So I put that in there along with some panko breadcrumbs, and you pulse it in a food processor a couple of times so it gets like a really nice kind of really fine consistency, and then you add hearts of palm. This is just a can of hearts of palm that came in the box. You just rinse it and drain it, and I've never cooked with hearts of palm before, but this already smelled kind of seafoody, just the hearts of palm. So I can see why using that in something like a lobster roll or a crab cake, the vegan version, would be really, really helpful. So I just kind of broke that up. They wanted it to be like large chunks because it was kind of supposed to be like the crab part of the crab cake. And then I added some salt. If I were to do this recipe again, I would do less salt because that was the only thing I thought it was a little bit salty. And then a little hack that I have is basically they said to put panko breadcrumbs on the outside and almost like shallow fry them in a pan, but I decided to bake them instead and just drizzle a little bit of olive oil on top, and that way you end up using way less olive oil. I will say though that they stick together better if you follow the recipe the way you're supposed to. In the meantime, while those are baking, I made a salad. The salad had the rest of the hearts of palm. It had some radish, avocado, and orange, and then it's just orange juice with salt and pepper. It was really, really good, really fresh. And this recipe actually called for sautéed greens to go along with it, but I really wasn't feeling sautéed greens on this night for whatever reason, so I just took some microgreens that I needed to use up in my fridge. I grabbed the rest of the avocado, and I kind of just put this little plate together. Oh, I also put a little bit of the Follow Your Heart aioli on the side just because, I don't know, I felt like it would go really good with the crab cakes, and I was correct. I ended up having 4 crab cakes altogether. If you guys haven't tried Purple Carrot, make sure you try them out because every time I make something from them, I just get really excited, and it always tastes really good and really shows you how versatile a plant-based diet can be. I'll put a link for them in the description box below, but yeah, this was bomb. Alright guys, that's it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I would love to know what the best thing that you ate today was, so comment in the comments below. And also, if you learned anything in this video, if any of the hacks are really interesting, something you want to try, let me know. Ask questions. I love talking to you guys in the comments, and I will see you guys in a video very soon. Bye!